Welcome to the Hunter Report. I'm inside a ProCamera, and let me tell you why I like it so much. The number one reason that I like ProCamera is, let me switch to the back, is not because of this super psychedelic mirroring mode, no. It's because it lets you shoot right here. You see that RAW plus JPEG, look at the bottom right. You can click that to just shoot RAW, you can click that to shoot TIFF, just JPEGs, and back to RAW plus JPEG. That's it right there. The second reason I like it is because you can lock focus. You can lock focus, and you see that there is a yellow and a blue square, so you can actually drag those apart and have a separate focal point and exposure point. So let's go ahead and drag the exposure point there. Look how dark everything gets. And let's drag the exposure back there, and look how light everything gets. And that's because focus is independent of exposure. So look at that. See, focus in distance, focus up close. Focus in distance, focus up close. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. And then you just quickly tap to the center to combine them. And here we are in the built-in camera app, and let's go ahead and drag that thing over there. And then if you just like shift the camera, you see it goes back to the center. So that's actually incredibly frustrating. There are certain cases where you just need it locked. And the auto nature of the iPhone camera app just doesn't cut it all the time. Alright, so we're back to ProCamera, and the third feature that I really like is the histogram, and I move my focus right over the histogram. That's what I'm talking about right there. And you see how there's a bit of red. Oh yeah, and now that brings us to the fourth feature, which is the exposure compensation on the right. So you see as I drag that down to -7, it gets dark, and as I keep going up, it gets light. And the power of the histogram is like the zebras in the Sony system. And what that red is telling me is that we're overexposed, and you can clearly see that in the image. But you'd like an image to have no overexposure. So here at 1, just look at the image. It looks overexposed. It just doesn't look right. And let's go ahead and keep moving the exposure down, and we see the histogram moving. And now the left side of the image looks pretty good, but the right side of the image is still slightly overexposed. And we could just keep moving the exposure down, and you see the top of the histogram right there, it's red. And we keep moving it down, and now, as long as the top is not red, you're not overexposed. So that's a great thing about the histogram. So this exposure slider is super cool, and you have it in video mode just as well. And you also have the focus thingies in video mode too. So I don't know if you caught that, I quick switched from photo to video. Let's just switch back to photo for the moment. The next thing that I really like is you get complete manual control. So right now we're here on exposure, and take a look at the left. Take a look right over here. I'm moving that thing. You see it says 1/20th, and you see right here it says ISO 1600. So there's a variety of different exposure modes. So the first thing is just this slider here, and that's sort of an auto exposure. And if you look as I drag it, you see that it goes from 1/20th of a second on the left to 1/30th, okay? But it's also shifting the ISO as well. It's shifting both the shutter speed and the ISO, okay, in combination. There are times when you want to, say, lock the shutter speed, and we just hit into full manual, and now you want to lock the shutter speed at 1/250th. Now, you see that happens, and now you have to just go and adjust the ISO, bring that up, okay? And now you see it's starting to get grainy, so let's actually add more light to the scene, okay? Just by doing that. And now we can bring the ISO back down. So we're at 1/250th of a second, and what that's really good for, as I put my hand in the scene, is this, I'm moving quickly. So let's go ahead right now and just take a snapshot. And let's go ahead and look at that snapshot, and you see my hand is relatively frozen, whereas we're back to 1/17th of a second. And let's go ahead and do that same test. And now you see my hand's a blur. A fast shutter speed is really good for freezing motion. So having the ability to control all of that, super powerful, 100% necessary. Let's crack right open here into the control mode. You have a tilt meter, which can line you up with the horizon. You can change your aspect ratios, and I actually use this 1:1 if I want to frame up something for an Instagram shot. Then you can just drop back into 5:4, 4:3, and then 3:2 is your normal iPhone landscape portrait camera. Let's see what else. We have this thingy here, on-screen display modes. So you see we have light, and then it's just a very minimal camera, but I like standard. I like to see everything. And then you can choose your grids, right? And let's just stick to a rule of thirds grid. Turn the histogram on, or have that thingy there with the lines, or that thingy there with the bar graph or whatever. You can have a self timer. You can turn on or off the focus exposure lock. You can have control over white balance. Doesn't really matter if you're shooting raw. Anti-shake is actually quite important. Now, rapid fire, that's actually a very, very important thing. Let's go ahead and hold down the shutter button here, and you see it's going to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's really important for freezing action, especially if your shutter speed is low. And there's just certain times when the light is low, and you need a low shutter speed, otherwise the image is going to be grainy. And having that rapid fire allows you to take a lot of pictures in succession. And Adobe Lightroom doesn't do that. So ProCamera is the only raw shooting photo app that allows you to do rapid fire. Super, super important. Now, if you go into the settings, there's actually a ton of settings. And I'm not going to go through everything, but there is a ton of settings. This app is worth every penny. That's what I'm trying to convey here. Let's go back to the camera. Video mode is great too. You see I have a microphone sensor on the left. You see those green bars. It's showing me my microphone levels. So that's super good. And it's basically the same controls that you have in photo mode. You have a option to zoom in video mode. And so that was photo and video. You get HDR, which stands for high dynamic range. Now here's Light Plus. Low Light Plus is insanely cool. So let's go ahead right now and put the camera into this little tripod dealie, because we want things to be stabilized for the low light shot. That's my workbench and bedroom. All right, so it's very, very dark in my room. And let's go ahead, we're at 1/15 of a second. Let's go ahead right there and change the shutter speed down to 1/3 of a second. You see this ISO 1600, and then just go ahead and take a shot. And you can see right there it's very grainy, because it's not getting enough light. And this is where low light comes in. We literally 1/3 of a second is the slowest you can take. But there's this cool thing called low light and low light plus. Now it recommends we use a tripod. Well, guess what? We're on a tripod. Let's go ahead and press the magic low light thingy and watch it do its magic over there. And now we see there's just so much less noise. And this is like super cool when you're outside. There are so many uses for it. So you get low light plus. So you get all these really cool, super cool things. Here's another really cool thing that I like about the video mode is you can go ahead and, so we can go all the way up to 240 frames per second for slow-mo. And then we could choose things like 4K and all the way down to VGA. And then that's summarized right here. On the left, you see we're at 1080p 24. And it tells us we have 86 gigabytes available. Let's go ahead and flip back. That was a quick run through of why ProCamera is so vital. Okay, it's actually my primary camera because always want raw files, especially if you shoot a tremendous photo, an incredible photo. And having the raw files, it's just a really good thing to have. If you ever want to revisit the photo to re-edit it, or if your photo somehow gets on the attention of magazines, having that raw photo is also a good thing to have. And just for it's important moments, capturing family photos or just important moments, it's always nice to have that raw photo for very important photos. And then the video mode is just it gives you all the focus and exposure flexibility of the photography, except it just seamlessly does it for video. And you get all those cool things, low light plus HDR. And it's just the most powerful app. And they have a customer support team. So go ahead and click the link below to get ProCamera. That link helps me out. And it helps me keep doing these awesome educational videos that I hope you guys like. So leave some comments below. And please subscribe. Please give me thumbs up. And I will see you soon.